Hello everybody, this is Russ Bucher from ControlMyJoystick, and in this video we're going to take a look at how we can configure ControlMyJoystick to accept voice commands. And this uses Windows speech recognition technology that comes free with every installation of Microsoft Windows. So the deal here is that within ControlMyJoystick you should be able to speak a command, either a word or a phrase, and it causes a trigger to fire, which in turn fires a macro and causes script commands to run, and that can send commands to your game. So we're just going to try one here, and then we're going to see how we set it up. You'll see here I have the current profile is Elite Dangerous, and I have some sample macros here, and I have one for ship lights, and I have a voice trigger for the word lights. It doesn't matter what case it is. It could be uppercase, lowercase, a mix. It doesn't matter. And when this trigger fires this macro, this script is going to fire, which is a joystick button down. Number 1 will go down, pause for 100 milliseconds, and then come back up. And that should have the effect of toggling the lights in the game. Okay, let's give it a try. First thing I'd like to do here, though, is I'm going to close this and open the voice panel. You can see here how it's already picking up my voice while I'm doing this narration on this video. Right here in its voice panel, it shows the 2 voice commands that I currently have configured for macros, and it shows up here. Now, under its system, there's a bunch more, and these are used for kind of system level things where you can bind access to games, and we'll talk about this a little bit later. We can actually hide all these, and you can actually go right click and copy to clipboard and paste all these maybe to a notepad and then print them out so you have a reference for your which voice commands you have configured. Okay, so I'm going to go down here to the log, and I'm going to speak this voice command. Now I do have a prefix configured here, and I'm going to go into the input menu, voice. Voice is configured, and I have a prefix of computer. We're going to come back here in a moment and take a look at this. So, computer lights. And you can see when that happened, the selection here went to the word lights. And here you could see the macros have been running. So I'm going to try this again. Computer lights. And you could see it here. So now I'm just going to click somewhere else. And this time I'm just going to say the word except without the prefix. Lights. Lights. Please turn on the lights. So that won't fire it. So, but if I go computer lights, that will fire it. I have another one here for landing gear. Computer landing gear. And let's try some others. Computer bind button. Okay, so let's take a look now at how we set this up. So first thing we can do here is go back up into the input and look at voice. And I have it enabled. Now this beep on success means that after a successful detection of a word, you can see here under the voice line in the log, it says computer bind button, means that you found it. Oh, I said it again, so it fired. Okay, and so this is really handy because if you say a command and you don't hear the beep, then you know it failed. Now you can disable the setup commands, and I'm just going to do this. Click on OK. And you can see how it removed a bunch of the system commands here. We'll go back in. Sometimes, when you enable or disable or make changes here in this voice configuration, it could take maybe 5 seconds. It might look like it's locked up, but it's actually resetting the speech recognition engine. And if I go to test mode here, that means that whenever this trigger fires, it's not actually going to play the script. So if I go clear, let's give it a try. Computer lights. It found it, but it did not play the macro that has a trigger. Computer, landing gear. Okay, now let's see if we could trick it. Landing gear. Put out the landing gear. Computer, put out the landing gear. So that one actually detected it. So, if you have pretty clear commands and you speak clearly, it'll work most of the time, but every now and then something like this can get through. And the more training you do on Windows speech recognition, the better off it will be able to recognize correctly your voice. Okay. So let's create another voice trigger. I have one here already for the ship lights, and I have one for the landing gear, but I don't have one here for the cargo scoop. So I'm just going to go add voice. And you can put in whatever word or phrase you want here. And I'm going to just put in a pause here so I have something that's going to run. And then go back here, and I'm going to take it off of test mode. Let's give it a try. Computer, cargo scoop. And you can see it selected here. So generally in your voice commands, you want to make them as distinct as possible. You wouldn't want anything to rhyme with cargo scoop because it could be misinterpreted. So try to make it as distinct as possible. Also, the longer the phrase that you use, the more likely it is to cause, a misrepresentation, or it could falsely trigger on it. So try and keep it as short as possible, but definitely use the prefix if you can, because that will really cut down on the false detections. When you configure your microphone, it's really important that you have a good quality mic. And here I'm using like a studio quality mic because I'm doing a video. But I've also used microphones just off of the earbuds that you would get with a smartphone. And these are the ones with the built-in microphone that kind of sits a little ways down on the cord. And it's actually worked not too bad. So before you go buying a microphone, give whatever you have a try first of all, and get it configured within Windows first, and to make sure your microphone works, and then set up and train your Microsoft speech recognition. And once that speech recognition is working properly and it recognizes your voices and the little nuances of your voice and your accent if you have one, then go into ControlMyJoystick and try setting this up and see if you can get it to recognize your voice commands. That's it. That's voice commands. Have fun.